In 2021, Ford and GM promised $65 billion to lead America's electric revolution, with headline product launches, grand factories, and political fanfare. Just 4 years later, both giants are writing off $26 billion in unprecedented losses, shuttering electric vehicle plants and reversing course. How did the electric dream collapse so quickly? And why did the very companies that claimed they would bury Tesla end up dismantling their own future? The answers reveal a corporate calamity and a national retreat, bigger than anyone could have imagined. On December 15, 2025, Ford stunned the industry with a $19.5 billion write-down. It was an admission that its electric gamble had failed. 4 years earlier, CEO Jim Farley stood on stage in Dearborn, promising $30 billion to lead America's electric vehicle future. The vision was sweeping. BlueOval City in Tennessee would become the largest auto plant in American history, a showcase for the next generation of electric trucks and batteries. The F-150 Lightning debuted to fanfare, billed as the company's boldest leap since the Model T. But reality set in fast. As demand for pricey electric vehicles faded and policy support vanished, Ford's Model E division posted a $4.7 billion loss in 2024. By the end of 2025, the company was forced to cancel $8.5 billion worth of upcoming electric vehicle models, including the next-generation Lightning. The SK On Battery partnership in Kentucky collapsed, costing another $6 billion to unwind. The Rouge Electric Vehicle Center, once the heart of Ford's electric ambitions, shut its Lightning production line. BlueOval City's future was pushed to 2029, repurposed for gas-powered trucks instead of electric vehicles. On the earnings call, Farley did not sugarcoat it. He said customers simply rejected expensive electric vehicles. The next Lightning, he admitted, would rely on a gas generator to keep its battery charged, not the all-electric dream. $19.5 billion written off, and the company's electric future was scaled back to a shadow of its promise. General Motors entered the electric race with even greater ambition. In 2021, Chief Executive Officer Mary Barra declared General Motors would invest $35 billion in electric vehicles and battery technology, promising to surpass Tesla and put the Ultium platform at the center of American innovation. The Ultium name appeared everywhere, on concept cars, in Super Bowl ads, and across factory blueprints from Michigan to Shanghai. The message was clear. General Motors would not just compete, but dominate. On January 8, 2026, that vision collided with reality. General Motors filed a Securities and Exchange Commission filing showing a charge of $7.1 billion tied directly to its electric vehicle operations. This was not a one-time blip. Since October, total electric vehicle write-downs had reached $7.6 billion. The company's flagship Orion assembly plant in Michigan, once retooled for electric pickups, began converting back to gas-powered trucks. Workers watched as Ultium battery lines and robotic arms were dismantled, packed up, and shipped out. At Factory Zero in Detroit, production of the Hummer EV was scaled back as demand cooled. Even the Cadillac Celestiq, a $400,000 luxury electric from General Motors, struggled to find buyers, its exclusivity turning into unsold inventory. The reckoning extended beyond U.S. borders. In China, General Motors' joint venture with SAIC posted a restructuring charge of $1.1 billion, pausing battery production and cutting shifts at electric plants. On an earnings call, Chief Financial Officer Paul Jacobson warned that more charges would follow throughout 2026, hinting at deeper trouble ahead. The Ultium gamble, once hailed as the future, now stood as a stark symbol of overreach and retreat. On September 30, 2025, the federal government terminated the $7,500 electric vehicle tax credit. The decision arrived as a formal bulletin from the Treasury Department, effective immediately for all vehicles purchased after that date. For years, this credit had been the single largest incentive driving American electric vehicle adoption, built into every sales pitch and business plan from Detroit to Silicon Valley. Its sudden elimination left car buyers facing thousands more at the dealership, with no warning or phase-out period. In the same week, a new entry appeared in the Federal Register, and the government's fuel economy targets, once set to climb steadily through 2032, were stripped down. Automakers no longer faced rising penalties for selling gas-powered trucks and sport utility vehicles. The compliance pressure that had justified billions in electric investment vanished overnight. The official notices were brief, just a few pages each, But the effect was immediate. Years of regulatory certainty disappeared. Dealers, engineers, and executives all woke up to a new reality. The rules that shaped the electric future were gone. The industry's foundation had shifted in a single week, not by market forces, but by the stroke of a pen. By November 2025, the numbers told a story that no executive statement could soften. National electric vehicle sales contracted by nearly 40% in a single month, erasing years of growth almost overnight. Automakers watched as months of inventory piled up on dealership lots, with some electric trucks and SUVs sitting unsold for more than 90 days. The average price of a new electric vehicle remained stubbornly above $50,000, while gas-powered trucks could be had for much less. For many buyers, the math no longer worked, especially with the $7,500 federal tax credit gone. Autodata's November 2025 report captured the scale of the retreat. Dealers slashed prices, but even steep discounts failed to lure customers back. In rural states and across long highway corridors, charging stations remained scarce, fueling anxiety about range and reliability. The promise of affordable, practical electric vehicles faded as quickly as the incentives that once propped them up. What began as a policy change became a demand cliff, and the shockwaves rippled through every corner of the market. Dealer lots across Ohio, Michigan, and Indiana turned into holding pens for unsold electric trucks and SUVs. Some vehicles sat for more than 90 days, gathering dust while sales managers slashed prices and watched foot traffic disappear. National inventory surveys showed rows of F-150 Lightnings and Hummer EVs parked bumper to bumper, their window stickers still boasting federal tax credits that no longer existed. Cash flow dried up as floor plan costs mounted, leaving many dealers with millions tied up in vehicles no one wanted to buy. The pain didn't stop at the showroom. Tier 1 suppliers who had ramped up for a decade of battery and electronics contracts suddenly faced billions in cancellations. Factories in the Midwest, once running double shifts to meet projected demand, began scaling back orders and sending workers home early. For small businesses, the collapse meant unpaid invoices and layoffs, with some forced to scrap new equipment bought just months before. Early adopters who paid top dollar for electric pickups and luxury EVs watched resale values plummet faster than any vehicle category on record. Used EV prices dropped month after month, leaving owners underwater on loans and questioning whether the electric dream had ever been real. Toyota's approach, once dismissed as too cautious, now stands as the industry's most resilient strategy. While others chased the promise of pure electrics, Toyota doubled down on hybrids, gas engines paired with electric motors. In 2025, hybrid sales soared by 50% worldwide. Toyota's executives in Aichi, long criticized for their skepticism about battery-only vehicles, watched demand for their Prius and RAV4 hybrids outpace supply. Across the Pacific, BYD in Shenzhen surged ahead, selling 2.26 million electric vehicles, a 28% jump in a single year. BYD's mix of affordable battery models and plug-in hybrids captured drivers in China, Southeast Asia, and Europe. As American automakers wrote off billions, BYD cemented its place as the world's electric vehicle leader. Tesla, once the benchmark, saw deliveries fall 9%, losing ground in markets it once dominated. Back in Detroit, Ford and GM abandoned the all-electric gamble. Both companies shifted investment to hybrids and extended-range vehicles, quietly shelving plans to end internal combustion engine production. Analysts described it as a retreat, but executives called it a realignment. The combined $26 billion in electric vehicle write-downs, $19.5 billion for Ford, $7.1 billion for GM, became the largest financial loss in automotive history. Uncertainty still hangs over the industry. The upcoming USMCA trade deal review threatens more disruption, with policymakers debating tariffs and supply chain rules. For now, the scoreboard is clear. The biggest winners are those who bet on flexibility, not revolution. Today, $26 billion is gone, and so is America's claim to electric leadership. As China's BYD surges ahead and hybrids replace pure electric vehicle dreams, Detroit's gamble lingers as a caution. The real cost isn't just financial, it's surrendering the future. What happens next is still unwritten.